And all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Live from the Island Cow on the beautiful island of Sanibel, you're listening to Beach Talk Radio with Kim and Ed Ryan.
And a good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode number 1 from the beautiful island of Sanibel. We are broadcasting live outside the Island Cow. The trusty sidekick here, Starkweather Ryan is with us. What a day today, and such nice people out here. So nice for you to get up early and come out and have some fun on Sanibel today.
The weather is amazing, and the food is fantastic.
Right, you already had a nice breakfast here. What did you have?
I had a Kim Kardashian omelet.
Oh, really?
Or a Kim not Kardashian omelet. So it had spinach, feta, cheese, tomatoes. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, let's get right into the our first guest here, and we're so excited to have the Vice Mayor of Sanibel here, Holly Smith, and a big round of applause for Holly. Thank you so much for coming on. It's our pleasure to have you here.
Wait, I gotta wait till the crowd settles.
That's right.
That's right. They're going wild. Wild.
Thank you. It's great to be here and great to have you on the island.
Yes, it's such a nice day today, and it's such a great setup here at the Island Cow. And Holly, first tell us how long you've been on Sanibel and how you got to Sanibel and the whole history of Holly Smith.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
in a nutshell.
Okay, I'm gonna do the Florida trip around Sanibel. So, born and raised, I'm gonna go from Maine. Born and raised in Maine.
Wow.
Actually, how I got to Florida, my senior year, I arranged a trip on People's Airlines with girls I did not know. With my travel agent, AAA at that point, and tried to find a place in Florida that wasn't as active as the East Coast beaches. And I think at that time, the average temperature in Fort Myers Beach consistently was 74 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided to go there and flew down for my 2-week spring break from the University Made at Orono. Had a great 2 weeks. Met my husband the second week at Top of the Mast. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of fun. He was a Smith, and I married a Smith, which is kind of fun.
Wow.
Ended up having an opportunity to go back to Boston and work, or come down to Florida. And, a Maine girl, we came to Florida. And then we've lived in this community since 1988. My husband's family has a hotel in Cape Coral. And so he worked around. He was a financial advisor. And then we ended up looking at the schools. I was a real estate appraiser for almost 20 years and focused on Sanibel, Captiva, North Captiva. Found the schools out here like so many families and bought our land in 97 and then built our home, and very active in the community from the get-go, as so many people are that come here to Sanibel. And then I had an opportunity to put my name in for Planning Commission. So in 2007, I did that. I was on Planning Commission for almost 10 years. And then there was a vacancy with Jim Jennings, who was moving off island for council. So I was appointed out of a slate of 10 to 12 applicants for a 4-month appointment.
Wow.
There was one appointment. And then I was ran unopposed to fill his 1-year appointment, and then I had an uncontested and ran unopposed to fill the first 4 years, along with Richard Johnson, who also ran at that same time that I did. So that's
you mentioned just a little aside here, because when you said People's Air, I took a flight on People's Air Express down here, and when I went back to the airport to get back on, they had just gone bankrupt, and I was stuck down here at the airport.
Really?
In Orlando.
I've never heard that story.
Yeah. My dad had to buy the most expensive ticket to get me home because I was starting my internship for work, and I had to go back. We showed up. There was no one there. They didn't exist. Just gone.
We're not here to talk about you today, dear. We're here to talk about the Vice Mayor.
You said People's. I was like, oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's all we could afford.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you were sitting on milk crates back then.
Pretty much.
So, Holly, you're the council with Kevin Ruane being elected a county commissioner, and then on his first day, he's the chairman of the commission, which was very interesting to see. You're going through some change on the council here. You've got 3 open. Can you tell us? You have 3 open seats and 6 candidates running.
We do. So yes, Kevin was appointed board chair, and it's a great position for him. If he says he's going to do something, he'll do something, as he always did out here. This is kind of a historic election that we're having on for the city. We actually have 3 open seats. 2 of our candidates from last year, Kevin and Mr. Ruane, had to resign to run. So there was an appointment process.
Jason
Mon.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You said Kevin.
You said Kevin and Mr. Ruane.
But you meant Jason.
I apologize. Thanks for
no
clarifying.
worries.
Yep. Mr. Mon, he is now running for council. There are 6 seats, 6 candidates that have applied and qualified for this race, and we have our race in March. So, along with Estero, we're the only 2 municipalities that did not change our elective process to be November. We, as a council, decided it was really important for us to stand alone. We have a great educated electorate. We vote out here. We did not want to fall into the state and national politic loop. You'd have to have your primaries in August. A lot of our people come back, in October, November, and December, and they want to learn about the candidates. Everyone out here is extremely engaged. So we decided that we would keep that electoral process in March. So we do have the 6 qualified candidates running for the 3 seats.
And the chamber did a great job with the forum they had on Thursday, I think it was. Originally, they had it scheduled for Tuesday or whenever the inauguration was, and then they moved it, which was great because I think everybody was watching the inauguration, and then got a chance to. Did I say that right? Inauguration.
Yes, you're right, and that was actually in fairness to the chamber, that was a misprint.
Oh,
so that was corrected. I think they did a great job. We are nonpartisan, and the city doesn't get involved with any of those forums. But this is a different world. There are going to be 2 additional forums, one from SCCF. And one from the League of Women Voters. And, in COVID world, it's been very different, the type of campaigns people will be running. So the more people can listen in and learn about each candidate and their qualifications, the better. So
you're the vice mayor now. And then when the elections are in March, and then the council will decide again.
Yeah. So how that works, we are one of the few municipalities we actually appoint our mayor and vice mayor from council. So we have our March 2nd election, and then we have an organizational meeting on March 16th. And at that time, the council will decide from within who will be seated as mayor and who will be seated as vice mayor. We'll also be looking at all of the committees that we work on, just to get a spread for everybody to make sure they participate and learn our process as council members.
So sorry, let me just ask one more and then you can go. What are some of the committees that you work on? What are some of in the past and now? Because you've had a long history.
I do. I didn't bring my list. I am extremely, my husband says, stop raising your hand. But, when you're committed to a community, it's easy to raise your hand because you want to learn as much as you can. And that's what I try to do. For the city, I'm the liaison for the contractor review board. I am the liaison for the community services department. That's planning commission. My history is land use. My history is
the Sanibel Bike
Bike Club.
Yeah.
I don't know. We must have seen 200 bikes go by.
I know.
Oh, okay. I thought you were pointing at the camera.
No. The bikes, because there's a huge. Yeah. I don't know if you haven't been to the island, it's amazing.
Very bike friendly.
Yeah, very bike friendly.
Well,
that is the way to get around this town, this city.
It is, and people are, it's getting cars off the road.
Yeah.
We have over 26 miles of shared use path, so it's not a bike path. It's a shared use path.
Okay, so I don't want to forget the earlier questions, but the bike thing is interesting because on Fort Myers Beach, they're also trying to figure out how to keep the pedestrians safe and the bikers safe because you come in, the sidewalks are getting wider, but sometimes you're not really sure, if you don't know, if you're not a biker and you're renting a bike, you don't really know the rules that, you stay to the right or you stay to the left. So how do you keep people safe?
I think our educational process is pretty strong. You can go on our website and there's, a biking on Sanibel video that was done a few years ago. we educate. We do have at certain times of the year when we have the ability to have our police patrol out on bicycles. We do have a couple that are trained for that. And, really, the more we get the word out, the better we do. And I think, in partnership with all of the bike rental companies that are here on the island and the resorts that have bikes on their island, I think that everybody does a great job to stay safe. We've got a great track record of safety on this island, and that's our priority.
Right. So let's back up a little bit. Last week, the meeting you had was a little bit short because you had to go to Cape Coral, and you spent some time with the family of Mayor Corviello, who passed away unexpectedly. So can you tell us how your friendship grew with the mayor in Cape Coral and what that was like when you went to the service?
I can. It's difficult to still be taking this in. Joe, one of our businesses is on Cape Coral, but I've met Joe. He came on as the mayor in 2017. That's when I came, was appointed to council. Mm-hmm. And I've done a lot with Joe through the Florida League of Cities, and we became friends. And he's been we're bound by sunshine. Mm-hmm. So, this year has been a real different year for leadership. And Joe was a call away from me, and he would always welcome any calls of any questions. And we became social friends with Diane, his two amazing sons. So we really started to have such a great bond. And I can tell you, being a business person in Cape Coral, having lived there early on, in the late 80s and early 90s, watching what Joe was bringing to that community. He is such a man of integrity, such a man of character. And he was every man's, every woman's mayor. You might disagree with him, but he would do so respectfully. Mm-hmm. And it was absolutely great leadership. It's one of the largest cities in Cape Coral. It's growing in leaps and bounds.
Right.
He understood the conservation versus the business and the growth there. He will be greatly missed. His leadership will be greatly missed. And the service was I don't even know how to say. It was with COVID and with the pandemic, I knew that I would make the decision to go there. Mm-hmm. It was very carefully done. It was a beautiful tribute to an absolutely amazing man. Okay. And I would not have missed it. And I was very grateful that my council allowed me to leave early and give the condolences of Sanibel, but they also knew how important it was to be there. But thank you for asking that and honoring him.
What, now, do you meet every Tuesday, like every single Tuesday?
We do not. So our meetings are actually once a month.
Okay.
But I can tell you that the job on council is a lot more than the once a month. And I am in meetings during every week, several times a day, trying to balance my, being a hotelier. That's my full-time job. So we all find that balance. We all find what we're very interested in doing. Just like everybody else, we're 24/7, but our meetings are once a month.
So do you have to update the COVID regulations every week or every month?
We do. That's a requirement that every Tuesday we continue the emergency declaration. So that is done every Tuesday because we're required to. So it's not something that we can put off for a month. It is something that has to be updated every week. And at that time, we also put the numbers out. If you've been on our website, any updates that we have, anything that we've discussed, if there's been an emergency meeting, the things that need to be up there, they're updated by our city attorney and by the mayor.
When you say they have to be updated every week, or is it every month or every week?
Every week for us. We're required to.
By who?
I believe it's our charter, and I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Your charter. It's not a state requirement or something like that, because I don't see the kind of detail from a lot of other municipalities that I do every Tuesday. It seems like every Tuesday we're getting an email from the town
city
clerk,
of Sanibel,
the city with a complete update on and they have links to the
that newsletter or whatever it's referred to.
Who's putting that out? Because that person needs a shout out. That detail is incredible.
We are nothing without the staff that we have. Judy Zamamra has been our city manager for 20 years.
Wow.
And, Judy is our PIO. She is 24/7. I don't think there are enough hours in the day to really respect the job that she does. And so we are very, very fortunate with the staff. Our city attorney is John Agnew. He came on a few years ago, about when I came on. We have shining stars in every department. Holly Milbrandt from Natural Resources, Steve Chapel from Finance, Keith Williams, Community Services. If I have missed anybody, I would apologize up front. But
you know, when next time the bike committee meets, I'm frightened by the lack of helmet wear. That's the thing. No, being a biker and crashing at least 2 times, and
I'm not even gonna say.
Yeah. She's crashed.
Having had
the thing is, I don't know. I don't understand. Not that it's a law that some people don't wear helmets. It's weird to me that you don't wear a helmet. The minute my daughter's the same way. She says, I'm only riding on the sidewalk. Well, when your head smashes onto the sidewalk, it doesn't matter how fast you're going. It's still you're gonna get a concussion or worse. And so what are the rules with the helmets here?
Well, and that's what I wanted to say. There are rules that we're allowed to be looking at, and there are state rules that we're governed by. And remember, this is a shared use path. This is not just Sanibel shared use path. You know, this is county participation as well. So the rules are under a certain age, you're supposed to be wearing a helmet.
Okay.
I believe all of the rentals, when you rent a bike, you've got to sign off on what you're doing. And I think that we do pretty well, but when you look, there are those that will always wear them and those that always
They're
won't.
not really going that fast. I understand. Not that matters.
Yeah.
Now the skateboarder going by, or what is that? What is that? That's not a skateboard. That's wow. What is that thing?
That
she was wearing a helmet. What was that?
That is not allowed on our shared use path.
Go get her, Holly.
Not, so
what? I didn't even know what that thing was.
I
it was like a skateboard.
It is an electric scooter.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
She wasn't going very
or
fast either.
hoverboard.
I mean, I think it's hard because this is a tourist destination. So you have people from all over coming here that may or may not,
I do harp on the helmet thing though, because I know from
Right.
experience it hurts.
I wear a helmet when I'm riding my bike. I'm old enough where that fall is not going to be as easy as it used to be.
That's our PSA. I mean, the helmet saved my life, so I would encourage everybody.
She's a klutz no matter what. So the minute she leaves the house, she has to wear a helmet. Walking.
All the time. Right there with you, Kim. I'm going up my front steps sometimes.
So let me just
go
with the tourist, getting back to the tourist, and you're currently on the Tourist Development Council, or you have been in the past?
We roll on and off. So I go to every meeting.
Okay.
I was on TDC when I first came on, and Sanibel rotates. So at that time, Mayor Ruane had asked me to come on because it's my wheelhouse. It's my background. It's what I do. And so we will be likely rolling back on again. What positions people have is going to be up to the new council.
Right.
So I never take for granted something that I don't have control of.
How has the season been out here in the wake of all of this pandemic stuff?
Well, I think that as a barrier island, that we're doing quite well. And the message that we're getting out to people is what we're doing as a community. Come here, be safe.
Mm-hmm.
We understand how important it is and are thankful to our county commissioner that they kept our businesses open.
Yeah.
We did, things were shut down for a while when, back in March. I think that we will be doing better than many. The booking windows are a lot shorter.
Right.
So instead of people saying, I'll be here in a month, they are now, they're now booking a week out. Now with the vaccines, not knowing when they're going to get a vaccine, the type of vaccine. But I think that this will be a different season.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of emails, we all do on council, to say, what are you doing? How are you protecting us? And we're saying these are the rules that we have in place. We hope that you follow them. We want to keep you safe. We want to keep our employees safe. We want to keep our families safe. And we want to keep our economy going.
Yeah.
God knows our small businesses. We're a community of small businesses, and they need our help.
Yeah. So we talk about it all the time. Some of the other states like Michigan and New York and California, the small businesses in those states just have to be, it's unbelievable what they're going through. But something else that people may not know about unless they listen to the meetings or pay attention to what the county is doing is there's going to be some some big time construction on the way over, which after it's all done is going to be a huge benefit. Can you kind of run us through what's taking place over there? Because listening to the last council meeting, you had a lot of questions. You wanted to make sure your points got across of what they put in there, even though it's a county property. You want the voice to be heard from Sanibel.
Yeah, so those that are listening, what the county is looking at is taking a look at the spoil islands and just kind of developing them so logistically they're safer. There's right now it's pretty inconsistent, the parking, what everything happens.
And those are those little, for people, those are the little islands.
Yep, coming over the causeway when you're on the top of the bridge.
It's a free-for-all. It's a free-for-all.
It's a free-for-all in many ways. And this has been on the radar for the county for a while. I was at a TDC meeting when it was brought up, and I did request that the county come and speak. Jesse Lavender came and spoke to us at our last meeting. And there were even revisions. We certainly understand that this is county land, but as we tell everybody, that's our front door.
Right.
So when you come over that causeway, people think, what is Sanibel doing? And it's not ours. So we simply are hoping to have some voice in what's happening. I think there was excellent thoughts brought up. They're looking at a bathroom that is a trailer type, and we're hoping that they can take a look at that and make something a little structured. We did that here on the island. We were able, with the flood regulations, to make sure that we have a sturdy bathroom, and we're hoping they look at that also. It's pretty dangerous where people are crossing over. It's pretty dangerous because people see it as a passing lane, whenever there's the double. And that's basically that one area going up to span A, it can be a racetrack. And so Councilmember Goss brought up an excellent point of saying, how can we make sure that those people that get in the right-hand lane can't fly into the left-hand lane?
Right.
Because it's a dangerous situation. The jet skis, the parking, all of that. During pandemic world, we have become discovered in a much different way.
Right.
And the uses of our natural resources all over are being used differently than they were before the pandemic. And we need to protect what we have and make sure that
people are getting out
continue.
more. They're
getting out from all over
into these open spaces.
Yeah. We are a very low density here on the island. It's safe to come here. We encourage and welcome, what our islands thrive on. And you've got to balance the residents. You've got to balance the businesses. It's a fine line.
So when does the project start? We came over today. Didn't look like there was any construction underway yet.
This is still, it's a little ways out. I think they're still conceptualizing. Like I said, there was a difference there's the timeline. And I'm not going to speak exactly to the dates that I don't know. I think the completion, I believe, was 2024 because it's going to be a multi-year project.
And multi-million. It was in the tens of millions.
It is. I will give great credit to Senator Benaquisto. This was something that she really wanted to see happen.
Oh, no kidding.
And then TDC money is being used for this. So, the funds that are being used are money that we've collected exactly for these reasons.
Yeah.
And the state has put in as well.
So let's talk about the election as much as you want to or can. You have 6 candidates coming up for 3 open slots now. It was stable for like the longest time, correct? You don't really see 3 slots come up on the council here.
No, that's like I said earlier, that's really historic. We have not, to my knowledge and to our city clerk, our prior city clerk, Plymouth Smith's knowledge, we have not had 3 seats without an incumbent.
Wow.
And
ever?
As far to the best of my knowledge, I did research that, as we were looking at appointments and things like that. But I think in pandemic world, I think there's been a different sense of community. And I think there's been a different sense of engagement. Whereas our meetings, we chose to meet in public, but we had so many listeners that, I don't know how many we had, but instead of just the people, that are showing up, as we know, there are certain people that show up all the time, or they show up if there's an issue. We had people all over the country and further listening to our meetings. And I think that, we have a lot of people that were, might be snowbirds, but were feeling safer in their homes wherever they were, engaging and listening. And I think that we have just had a call back to community. And although we have very few uncontested elections, we'll be having, the 6 candidates that have stepped up. We're volunteers. As you know, we don't get paid. So that's a commitment. It's a 6-week campaign. It's not a 2-year campaign. And I had always said, you know what, if you're interested in doing it, my job is to make sure that whoever comes on that council are the next leaders in our community, and that we teach them as best we can the things that we've learned. You know, I learned a lot from Kevin. I've learned a lot from Mick, our mayor now, Mick Denham.
Why has he decided not to run? He's been on the council for quite a while, right?
Mick has been on council for 16 years.
Okay.
I think
That's
feels
enough.
like he's filled his commitment.
He has, and I will tell you, his leadership during pandemic has been absolutely second to none. He has lived it. He has stressed it. You don't want 5 people asking 5 different questions to 5 different commissioners or to a city, you know, a county manager, Roger DeJarlais. So Mick has been, which it should be the
mayor,
focal point,
right?
The focal point, the point person in regards, he's on the phone every day, pretty much every day, with the Board of County Commission, with Chair Ruane, and we're talking a lot. He is talking, and then what he will do is get that information back to council. So I think, in answer to your question, I think Mick is ready to pass that and to let the new generation of leaders learn this island the way I did in Planning Commission and have on council. A lot different going from Planning Commission to council.
Sure.
Huge learning curve.
A lot more phone calls.
A lot more phone calls, a lot more traveling. I was really lucky with then Mayor Ruane to travel around the country and around the state with him, not around the country, to Washington, D.C. several times, and just really learn, because our water quality, our water is our environment. We can't ever say that enough. And it's what we're learning to make sure and balance the businesses with that.
So you're now on the council for how many years?
I was appointed for the 4-month term originally, and then I ran.
And you have your own police department, and
well,
that's Lee County Ambulance. Hopefully nobody fell off their bike without a helmet on. So we're getting all the action here today.
But it is different here. You have your own fire department and your own police department.
No, the fire department is the Sanibel Captiva. That's a county. That is not part of the city of Sanibel.
Okay.
At our police department, yes, we do have our police department.
So the fire department services both areas.
Correct. Okay. And I was remiss, because when I said maybe I forgot someone, Chief Dalton, he has been here for decades, and he's our current chief. And
will you put in a good word for us, and maybe he'll come on the show and
talk about?
I don't know, but I can't. We're very lucky to have the leadership that we do, and safety on this island. We're a small island, so look, safety of our citizens, of our guests, is our main concern. I guarantee you, when you made a comment about somebody on this bike path, I guarantee you somebody's on it.
So you were saying how long you've been on the council?
Sorry. So I was appointed for a 4-month term, and then Jim Jennings moved off island, and I finished his 1-year term, and then I am into 2 years of my first 4-year term.
Okay. So the other person that will be left after the election is on how long?
Richard Johnson.
Yeah.
Richard Johnson, as you know, has, his family is of the Bailey family. So it's Bailey's grocery store. He came on with me in the first 4-year term. He was on Planning Commission as well. Their roots are,
so you two are basically the same amount of time on the board, and then you're going to have you might have 3 new members. You might have 2 new members, and Jason, who was on before. Jason Monaghan was on before. And do you recall how long Jason was on before he had to resign to run for? He ran against Botana, I think, right?
Yeah. He did, Adam Botana. He was actually elected. I think there were 4 people running for 3 positions. So he was actually elected same year that I came on. A little bit longer is my seniority, but I mean, what a great team. Yeah. Richard's been, a really strong, he hit the ground running, and he knows this island very well.
Are the other candidates, because I don't know, I apologize, are they new to being in council? Have they been on other that you know of? Or are they kind of new to the whole thing?
They're not new to the island. Okay. I don't want to really talk too much.
She can't pick sides in this. What are you, crazy? You're asking her to pick sides. Cut it out.
If they were new, I didn't ask her.
All right, so we're gonna have to have a post meeting about the questions you're allowed to ask.
I want to be very careful because I think that we've got.
It could be skewed the wrong way.
We're very fortunate to have the quality of candidates that we do, and all of them in some way or another have been pretty ingrained in
well
the
said, well said, Holly. Well said.
I tried to tee that up for her.
What else do you want to accomplish? Like, what do you think needs to be done on the council as we don't want the bees.
Might
As
blow
a,
up like a balloon.
as
I was like,
as a council member or a potential mayor. I'm just throwing it out there, but
so you get to say that.
I know I'm not saying that she has to comment on it.
And you know what? The only comment I'm going to make, and I'm a team player,
Right.
And we appoint our own mayor. We're not an elected mayor. That comes from whoever that council decides. So I'm not, I have great respect for the job that I do, and the type of work I do never changes, with a title or without a title.
Right.
So, and I've learned a lot in this last year, and humility was a big thing to learn.
So
Can you teach it to him?
Was, are you saying like the priorities?
Yeah, like if there was one or two things you looking forward to getting accomplished on the island that you want to, what would they be?
Well, we as a council set the priorities, and we'll be re-looking at those. But our council has certainly set the priority of making sure that we're finishing phase 4 of our sewer. We only have 19 properties right now that are on septic. I bet you did not know that.
Did not know that.
And those are a little bit more complex properties. Full disclosure, I'm one of them.
Oh, wow.
But that has been, it's taken decades to get all of us on sewer, and we'd like to finish that for the water quality issues that we have. We're looking at, if you tore our city hall, the police department has been in really cramped quarters, and
they need a new building.
Now there's a difference between the female officers and the male officers, and the female officers have a different location. We need to make sure that we have a police department that is up to what it should be. So that's something that council current council has committed to. Another item that we've been looking at is the senior center. Our senior center over on Palm Ridge is an older structure. We had the opportunity to buy one of the banks last year, and we are looking for the bank to be our next senior center. So those are pretty strong priorities, and we want to be careful, that we don't take on too much and don't accomplish anything. So we're really good at saying, what are we going to do? Can we achieve this and move forward on it? And it's going to be really, interesting, because people come in with all these different ideas, but when you get on council and you learn, you say, what can we do? What are our needs versus what are our wants?
What do you do for fun in the 10 minutes you have every week?
What are some of your fun things to do on the island?
You know
There's
what? You're
so much here.
Yeah, I was gonna, you're on this island.
Right.
Everything is great. Our business community works hard for our tourism industry. We have the most beautiful beaches. We have Ding Darling.
Kevin's ready to go.
We have SCC. I don't even want to be a disservice
there's so
by not
many.
naming everything. The nonprofits on this island, what they do to protect what we have is world class. So what I like to do, I'm an avid boater. Everybody knows on the dais, Holly's a fisherman. She's a boater. And when I get out of here, it's been cold for a while. My husband knows.
Are you going to go
Get me on
fishing
the
today?
boat. We might drop a line, but we just might, take a cruise and run the boat.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, Holly, we owe you. We appreciate you coming on and being our
Yes,
first guest.
thank
We're
you
forever
so
in your
much.
debt, and you've always been great to us, and we appreciate you coming on. Is anything we can do to promote the island or the council? Just let us know. We've got 9 listeners across the world, and
Oh, that's awesome. We broke 5.
you never know.
And can I ask you a quick question?
Oh, sure.
Because here you are. Welcome. It's great that you're out here, but this is something new, where you're going to be looking at different cities. I think it's great that you're expanding and learning about the other areas. So
You want me to answer?
I don't want it to be anything
No.
controversial.
No.
Is this forbidden for the sunshine laws, or are we allowed to answer this?
I know.
Withdraw that question.
No.
I think
We love it.
Yeah.
We love this.
We
love
used
the
to bike
area.
out to the Island Cow on a regular basis from Gateway, And it's just a unique little place. And then we
It
had
is.
Brian on the show because he has a place close to Fort Myers Beach, and we just started staying in touch with each other, and the time was right to come out here. And we got to know the council a little bit because of the mask thing. I mean, that was we were covering all the local municipalities because of the mask thing, because it's so controversial. Like, there's groups that are so for it and groups that are so against it. It was like you have to watch what's going on and especially in Cape Coral, they were the biggest community where it was such a clash of crazy people in Cape Coral.
To deal it was some of that was something to watch.
You know what? And they do the best they can. And for us, I just want to say, to me, it wasn't controversial. I mean, our age demographic is 68, 69. Mm-hmm. Our citizens, I'm elected to be the steward of this island and listen to our citizens. And we did. And it took us 3 times to get that through. Yep. But it was something that I was, might be, it wasn't a difficult decision. And I reached out to the county commissioners and let them know exactly. I respected their decision. Right. We rule locally. Home rule is the most important thing.
We talk about that a lot.
What we have done, has made sure that we protected our citizens.
We'll have to get you back on to talk about that, because that's an interesting thing to me. And I know you've won an award from the Florida League of Cities for your Home Rule Hero Award, correct?
How dare you out-research me? I did not know that. How dare you?
Thank you. I've been very fortunate. 3 years and 3 Home Rule Heroes.
Nice.
So
I think that's really important, though. I mean, a lot of people might not know what that means or the importance of it.
And as our mayor, Mick Denham, he's been in the league for 16 years. He brought the fertilizer ordinance, fought for it for 5 years. Yeah. So, we've got
it. That's huge.
We walk the walk here, and we really try to lead in any way that we can. But it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
The last thing on the mask thing, to answer your question, was the reason that we were following was because even though you guys don't do a video of your meeting, it's a recording. We were listening to resident after resident. I mean, it was one of those issues where it went on. Actually, if I remember your meeting right, it went on and on and on so much that you had to stop it because DeSantis was talking, and then come back to it after his press conference, or because he was talking about his executive order or something like that. And it was such a huge issue, but it was that way everywhere. It's just the way it was.
And that was in the infancy of what we didn't know.
Right.
And we had to make sure that what we were doing. One of my comments is when someone's at the dais said, "Well, how do you measure this?" And I said, I don't measure what's happening on the island. I'm measuring what's happening outside the island and making my decisions to protect our community on what's happening around that island. Right. And I walked that walk with my own businesses as well very early on. But we didn't know what we didn't know. We know a lot more now. Those shots are getting in the arms, and we're moving forward.
Perfect.
Well, we could have had you on the whole hour, so we know you want to get out boating and fishing and enjoying the great day. Thank you so much for being our first guest. We will forever be in your debt. Holly Smith, everybody. Yay! Thank you so much. And the crowd's going wild again.
Thanks.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Holly Smith, everybody. She is the vice mayor of Sanibel. We really appreciate her coming on. And before we get Kevin on, who's from Ding Darling, we want to make sure that we tell you about one of our sponsors, and that is Sanibel Carts. Sanibel Carts, you can cruise the islands in style on Sanibel Carts. They have 4 and 6 passenger street legal, solar power paneled electric carts for all of your vacation transportation needs. Thank you, Holly. Take care. Have a great weekend. And you can visit them right now at 239-500-CART. That's 239-500-CART. Or you can visit them at sanibel-carts.com. Sanibel-carts.com. And they have, if you check them out online, the carts are really cool. They had them down on Fort Myers Beach, and we were able to check them out down there. It's Sanibel Carts, and we appreciate those guys because they really have introduced us to a lot of the folks down here on the beach too. So check them out and rent one if you want to. They are super cool. And right now, our second guest on our first show from Ding Darling is Kevin. I don't know if we're saying your last name right, Kevin.
Godsey.
And if you
the
A is silent.
The A is silent. Yeah.
So our camera's here, and if you can get nice and close, they're nice and clean.
Yep.
So you're good to go. And Dear, I'm going to let you start it off so I'm old,
All
so
right,
I always have to.
I wrote down your new title because it's a little bit lengthy.
Oh, it's a little long, yeah.
It's a little lengthy. So you are now the permanent project leader at what is the new Southwest Florida National Wildlife Refuge Complex. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Project leader for Southwest Florida refuges, basically. So
Okay.
that's 7 national wildlife refuges in Lee and Collier County. So I'll be based out of here at Ding Darling.
Okay.
It's kind of our hub. But then we also manage Island Bay, Caloosahatchee National Wildlife Refuge, Matlacha Pass National Wildlife Refuge, and Pine Island. And then down in Collier County, there's Florida Panther National Wildlife Refuge and 10,000 Islands National Wildlife Refuge.
Right. So before we get into all of that, what you had been the director here at Ding Darling, correct?
So I was acting for about a year and a half while Paul was on Paul Tritech, my predecessor. He was on a detail, and then he retired. But while he was on a detail doing a regionally important project, I kind of stepped up from my job at Florida Panther National Wildlife Refuge and was serving in his position for about a year and a half.
So tell everybody a little bit about your history and how you got involved in this kind of, because you've been doing this a while. This is not a short-term gig, right?
No, this is it's a career. So,
yes. What was it? 22 years?
22 years. So I first learned about the National Wildlife Refuge System when I was in college. I was at Georgia Southern University and started to volunteer at Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge in South Georgia. And
great name.
Yeah, it was a great place, 400,000 beautiful acres of swamp, and it's just gorgeous. And I fell in love with the mission of the agency, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and from there I got into I fell into the career. I got into what's called a student career employment program with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I was stationed at Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge.
Oh, nice!
And that was late '90s, and then in 2000 I moved here to Sanibel, and I was. For 8 years, I worked here as an education specialist, and then a supervisory park ranger before jumping up into management. So I in this field, you move around a little bit, and to move up in your career, you kind of get a lot of experience at different places. So.
And tell people a little bit about Ding Darling for those who don't know the gem that it is and why they should come out and visit.
Yeah, Ding Darling is almost 7,000 acres of mangrove estuarine habitats, and it was established in 1945. So we're celebrating our 75th year this past December, and it's really a place where it's for the wildlife, but it's also for people. It's a place where we can educate and introduce the National Wildlife Refuge System to the American public. So we have a huge visitation, almost 1 million visitors a year.
Wow!
And those folks come from all over.
Mm-hmm.
And there's in their own backyards, there's probably a National Wildlife Refuge. There's 560 of them across the country.
Wow!
And there's usually one within an hour's drive of every major city. So people can go, they can come here, see our wildlife, see the gem that it is, and then go back home and explore their own wildlife refuges and their own places in their own backyard. So that's really what we're all about. We're about not just the habitats and preserving the habitats, managing them for our migratory species of birds, but then also our resident fish and manatees and gopher tortoises. So we're all about protecting that habitat, managing that. But then also educating and getting people to enjoy it and have that first-class wildlife experience. So
they can come, and there's an education building, and then there's also a drive, correct?
That's right. So there's an education center that we opened it back up from COVID.
Right,
so
right.
It was closed for a good period of time. We just opened it up partially. So visitors can come in, get the information that they need to go visit the refuge, walk the trails. So there's the Wildlife Drive.
Mhm.
It's about a 4-mile drive, and you can get out and there's different stops
Mhm.
along the way. Get out of your car, stop and really take in the scenery. Low tides are the best time to visit because that's when a lot of the birds are out foraging in the mud flats, and you can have thousands of pelicans. We were out there the other day and just literally thousands of white pelicans all in a small area of about 50 to 100 acres. It was amazing.
I wish I didn't know about the low tide, because I actually went out there, when the pandemic was, there was, you were finding other things to do.
Yeah,
And it was open. It was free. Now it's not free now, right?
that's right.
okay.
Yeah, we resumed our entrance fees, but we kept it open and free.
Still
for
well
the
worth.
summer. Yeah.
I mean, well worth it. And I went out there. I saw some iguanas. I saw some very nice gentlemen fishing, which that's allowed, correct? Okay.
Absolutely.
Because a little bit, I was like, oh, I don't know if that's, but I'm not. I'm not the wildlife police. So, but they were very nice. They were fishing for mullet out there. I was stopped on one of the bridges and saw, I believe it was a little starfish along the side. I saw all sorts of birds, which I was unable to identify because I'm not really good with that. But it is an amazing thing, folks, to come out there. You really should take a ride out there and see it. So
yeah, you can visit by vehicle, by bicycle. A lot of people come through on bicycle. It's $1 for bicycle. It is $10 for the day for vehicles, but it's $1 per biker or hiker. So feel free, come on out and especially try to hit those low tides, and you'll have a first-class wildlife experience.
How does somebody get a job like you have now, and how do you? I mean, what is it that you get into early on in your life where this is something that you want to do?
I came into this a little later than many of my colleagues, but I grew up in suburban Atlanta, and I was always in the creeks. Playing with crawdads and fish and fishing and up on Lake Lanier water skiing and boating and all that.
What's a crawdad?
Crawfish, little crayfish.
Okay. I don't get out of the house a lot.
no.
So so anyway, growing up and just being outside and outdoors, but I didn't really have an idea of what a National Wildlife Refuge or the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service did. I knew what endangered species were. I knew that, but I got into college and like I said earlier, I started volunteering at Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge, and really fell in love with it. So I started to change my major in college. I was going to be sports medicine, and totally
what a change that is.
Totally jumped ship and went with it's actually a National Wildlife, or it's a natural and cultural resource recreation degree is what I ultimately ended up with.
Do you have to wrestle alligators when you're in and going through those courses, or capture snakes? And
capturing snakes, yeah. Wrestling alligators, not necessarily a requirement of college, but we do take care of that from time to time when we need to.
So what do you think of the pythons down with the python capturing thing that they had? Did you already ask this?
No.
The when they go out and they have like hunting season for pythons. I mean, and where do you find the people that know how to hunt pythons?
So, a lot of folks, pythons it's a huge issue in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
It's South Florida in general. And the people that do this and go out and hunt them, most of the time they're hunters themselves. They're folks that are out in the woods, great people that really know the habitats well, know what they're looking for. And it takes time to develop that signature to be able to actually look and see one in the habitat.
Wow.
You can walk right past
no
a
kidding
16-foot python and not know it's there because it's so camouflaged into the.
Can they hurt you?
They can, but it's not likely. I mean, they're going to fleet or they're going to hide.
Okay.
Usually they're right near water bodies and they jump into that water and they're off. So it's really hard to catch them.
What do you hunt a python with?
So we use our brains.
Okay.
Gotta use it. So
I'm out.
All right. So,
I'm out.
Yeah. So it's really about using their biology against them. So on these cool days, these cool mornings, but these hot sunny days, where are they going to be? They're a reptile. They're cold-blooded. They're going to be out sunning themselves, but they're lethargic because it's cold. So these kind of cool mornings like this, great mornings to hunt up a python because they're a little bit more lethargic, a little slower.
They are.
And you can and they're up basking
So
just like an alligator, right?
Do you just use your hands to catch them, or you can't go in with a gun?
You can't go in with a gun, but
okay.
I apologize.
It's best just to use your hands and capture them, and then
it's best to leave it though to the people who know what they're doing.
It is.
So let me ask you a crazy question. Do you think the Tiger King guy should have got a pardon?
I'm not going to weigh in on the pardon part. I won't weigh on the pardon part, but did
you watch the Netflix?
I did watch it.
Stop watching
it was crazy. I was proud that our agency was part of the investigation that led to his arrest.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So our U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service agents, our special agents, did an awesome job working with the FBI in that investigation, and so they did a fabulous job. And to see it unfold on the Netflix drama is just hysterical. But
yeah.
What about
I want to ask you if you thought she killed her husband. I want to ask you that. I mean, you can answer if you want to, but I wouldn't ask that.
What's your question? Invasive iguanas? Is that's an issue, right?
It is an issue here on the island, and
are there iguanas that are not invasive? Like, I've seen a couple of them. I don't know if they're the good ones or not good ones. Are they all not good? Or
all iguanas are invasive, whether they're the green or the spiny.
Okay,
they're invasive to Florida. It's something that we have to manage. We'll never be able to really control them completely or eradicate them, but it's something that you have to manage.
They look so cool though. Those big green ones.
And I was out there when I was at Ding Darling on and over at the Bailey homestead. They blend in. So all of a sudden you'll see something fly out of the corner. I mean, I almost stepped on one walking up to the water out there because you're just not. I'm not astutely looking for them, and they are fast.
Oh, they're very quick, and that's why they're hard to catch too. You got to trap them. You can try to trap them. It's not an easy problem to fix with non-native wildlife species like iguanas. Yeah.
Now I know
or pythons too.
I know you're here talking about Ding Darling, but can you talk a little bit about?
Why do you say it like that? Don't poo-poo it like that.
No,
You're saying it like,
I'm just saying, I know, but can you talk about the other refuges? Because I actually went to the 10,000 Island one.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. It was a little intimidating because I was there by myself and nobody else was there. And it's out there. And as you're
Did you have your helmet on?
Oh, that wouldn't have helped. As you're walking along, you hear the water splashing pretty loudly. And I can just imagine what was there. But it was beautiful.
Go get your question. Come on.
All right. So tell us about that one and the Panther one and some of the other ones.
He's getting a sunburn out here. I didn't know it was going to be this nice out today. Yeah.
It is a beautiful day. So 10,000 Islands National Wildlife Refuge. It's 35,000 acres.
Wow.
It's much larger than the Ding Darling Refuge. But it's pretty secluded, as you suggest. Yes. There's a hiking trail there, the Marsh Trail, that's right off of US 41, halfway between Marco Island and Goodland, Port of the Islands. So it's down just on the edge of the Western Everglades. Very similar habitats that here at Ding Darling. Not nearly as much visitation, but most of that refuge is visible by boat. I mean, and visitors can do the hiking trail, or you can kayak on the waters. You can get to most of the refuge by boat. But it is pretty unspoiled area. It's nice. It's a lot of great fishing down there, though.
No kidding.
Great
Like what kind of
fish? I just don't think I'd be. I thought about that because I am a kayaker, and I was like, I would be nervous.
How deep is the water around there?
That's not the issue.
No.
There's a lot of stuff in there, and there's, well, as the name suggests, 10,000. I mean, you really want to have a good map.
Yeah, GPS works good.
Yeah.
So what is like the craziest thing you've ever been bitten by?
Craziest thing I've ever been bitten by. Oh, I don't know.
Nothing.
Have you been bitten by anything?
Oh, yeah, snakes.
Really?
Yeah, I mean nothing.
What
about
Nothing
a
brown
venomous or
recluse?
anything like that.
No.
Brown recluse. No.
What kind of snake
spiders,
bit you?
Sure. Let's see. I've had rat snakes. Maybe I've had brown racers.
Really?
Black racers. I mean,
What do
so,
you do when you get bitten by a snake?
You put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
Don't rip it off because they have teeth, and that's going to make it worse. So
No kidding.
Just wait for it to get its teeth out you.
Kevin,
and then
if something bites me,
I know it's a
the
knee-jerk
reaction is going
right?
to be to pull that sucker
That is
out.
you got to like resist that reaction.
No kidding.
Right? Yeah.
See,
So
I
otherwise,
like
you're just.
dangle it around on your
Yeah.
arm till it lets go.
How
Yeah.
close have you ever been to an alligator?
Oh, I've held them.
No
caught
kidding.
them, yeah.
Have you ever heard of the wildlife whisperer?
Wildlife whisperer?
He-
No.
Yeah, we had
him on our show yesterday.
yesterday.
He's in Cape Coral.
Okay.
He refuses to kill anything, whether it's a bat or a rat or a snake. He always captures and
them.
releases them, and that's his.
Well, his thing is fixing the house or the whatever the structure is.
Oh,
so the animals
is that what he
can't
said
get in there.
yesterday? I
Yes,
must have missed that
yes,
part.
You missed
So,
that.
yeah.
But anyways, you digress.
Yes, I do. So, what is the most fun that you think people can have at Ding Darling?
The most fun. I think if you're into wildlife and birds and want to learn, I suggest take a bike ride on the drive at low tide during the winter or during migration season, spring or early or fall. This time of year, just to see the abundance, you just don't see that everywhere. Even on other national wildlife refuges, just don't get to be that immersed in wildlife and in nature. So I just love to take a bicycle ride out, and just be immersed in it.
Mhm.
I think if you're on boat, come in, paddle around and fish. Awesome fishing when our water quality is good.
Mhm.
You can't beat the fishing back in the backwaters.
Now I just want to ask because we talked about the Florida Panther. What's at that refuge?
Yeah, Florida Panther National Wildlife Refuge. It's 26,000 acres.
Ooh,
It's right off of
big.
I-75
I
in
went
Alligator
by it.
Alley.
Yeah.
There's a couple of hiking trails, but we're going to be we're going through a planning process now to open up more visitation there.
Good.
It's
yeah.
primarily a closed refuge. It was established in 1989 for the protection and recovery of the Florida panther. And
How is that going?
It remarkably well.
Good.
Good. Back in the 80s, we may have had 30 individuals left in the wild.
That's
Really?
crazy.
And,
yeah.
and today we're upwards of 230. So
Wow.
So a lot of success, a lot of work by great dedicated people that have really rebounded this and spawned the recovery of the species. So we're not to recovery yet. We're not
No.
off the endangered species list yet.
I've never seen a
But,
panther. Have you seen one close up?
Yep. I've seen, working out at the Florida Panther Refuge for 10 years.
Oh, you see
I've seen
He's
seen a few, but
Yeah.
but it is still rare, and it's still awe inspiring when you see that cat.
As long
It's
as
just
we've
beautiful.
lived here and we live out by the airport, so they meet an unfortunate kind of thing
Yeah.
out there. But I've still never seen one.
What
up
about
close.
bears? Have you seen bears?
Bears, yes, a
you
lot of
think you
black, a lot of black bears.
Can
out
you
at
take
the
a bear?
Panthers. Well, not in Florida anymore.
I don't mean take them home. I mean, can you, if you were wrestling with one, you think you could?
No.
I don't think I've ever
No.
seen a bear up close. Maybe on
Not-
TV. That's
not in
about
the
it.
Wild. Not
Yeah,
in the
lots of
wild.
bears out. And, people think of Florida, you don't think of bears.
Right.
Yeah, there's-
Gator.
yeah,
my dad
but there's
lives
a
in
lot of bears,
Orlando.
black
He's
bears.
seen them out running,
Mhm.
going
No
into
kidding.
garbage cans.
How
Oh, yeah.
often? How often
And
do they
he's
run?
tracked away.
I mean, how fast can they run? They run a 5K
They can-
and how long?
You're not going to outrun it.
A bear?
Yeah.
You can't outrun a bear?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
Hmm.
Nope. I think you just need to stand there. They're going to run away from you. They don't really want trouble from you, but
You're
just stand your
you're so
ground.
educated about the bear.
Well,
I
it's
didn't
a
know that
different
about you.
strategy for black bear versus grizzly bear, but you should look it
Ah.
up if you're going in those areas.
Yeah, I mean, you take bells if you're
Yep.
hiking in bear country.
Yep. or just keep talking.
Just keep talking. They're gonna run away from you.
And they're gonna know you're coming usually
go.
before you're gonna see them. But
So go ahead.
No.
What do you want people to know about Ding Darling that they might not know?
Oh, that they might not know. So, well, first of all, the namesake. Who is, what is Ding? What is Ding?
Yeah.
So who is that? So it's Jay Norwood, Ding Darling. He was a Ding is his nickname. It was a contraction of his last name. That's how he pinned his name, his signature on his editorial cartoons. So he was an editorial cartoonist from 1901 to the 1960s for the Des Moines Register. He was syndicated all across the country on front pages of newspapers back in the day, back when, before radio, certainly before internet,
right.
before TV, but that people got their news from newspapers. And he was a conservationist at heart as well. He became the chief of the Biological Survey, which is today's U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and he started the duck stamp. All duck hunters, migratory waterfowl hunters, they have to buy a stamp. That's kind of like their federal license, and 99% of those monies go right back into land conservation. So it buys more preserves, more national wildlife refuges. So it buys wetlands for migratory waterfowl. So it's an incredible program. He started it, and he was also the head of our agency back in the 1934, 35. And so his tie to Sanibel was that he had a house up here on Captiva, and he was instrumental in 1945 in getting the Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge authorized and then also protected as the Sanibel National Wildlife Refuge. And then later, after he passed away in 1967, he passed away in 63, and then in 67 they changed the name from Sanibel National Wildlife Refuge to the Ding Darling.
Very nice. Now I'm going to ask the dumbest question of the day, and she's used to me asking these questions. She's up here, and how do you get there?
How do you get there?
Yeah, from here.
From here. Well, coming over from Sanibel Island, you'll turn right at the causeway at Periwinkle Way, head straight on down to Tarpon Bay Road, take a right, and then take a left on Sanibel Captiva Road, and we're on the right-hand side about 2 miles down.
Yep.
What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
Oh, probably, I'll say it'd probably be my tarpon is probably about a 60 pound tarpon. So
not 60 pound. How long did it take you to pull it in?
Oh, not terribly long. Maybe 10 minutes.
Really? That's it?
It's not too long.
It would take her a couple hours. I mean, look at her spaghetti arms.
I wish I could catch a bigger one, but
So where did you catch it?
Out here in Tarpon Bay.
Okay.
Which is in the refuge.
I didn't know that.
Which is
very nice.
in the Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge.
Did we miss anything about Ding Darling and you? And congratulations on the position. I know you've been kind of in the acting position for a while, and so it's got to be good to be the king now.
It is. I'm beyond words to really say. I really I love this place. Has a place special in my heart, and never did I think that I would come back after I left in 2008 and became a manager up in Charleston, South Carolina at Cape Romaine National Wildlife Refuge. Never did I think I'd be able to come back to be the manager here at Ding in my career, and things just fell into place.
Dream job.
I think it is
dream location. Good.
Right. And I have to say, I've got the best, my staff. They're just, I shout out
How
to
big
them
is your
all.
staff?
It's smaller than
it's
it
not
used
as
to be.
Big. Yeah. That's one of your initiatives
it
going
really
forward,
is.
right?
It is rebuilding our staff. I mean, we've been going through a workforce plan, and part of this of my job now, because it is the project leader for Southwest Florida refuges, is part of that reorganization, and so my job, really, first initiative is really to rebuild our staff and get our capacity back, because we've suffered in the last several years.
I'm going to look at the jobs you have. I would love to.
So I know you have an internship program, right? Yes. So people can apply for internships.
That's right. We have interns throughout the year. They're either biological, whether they're biologists or whether they're visitor services professionals, environmental educators. We
love this
do.
place.
We do hire probably
Thank
about
you.
6 or so interns a year, and they're there from anywhere between 6 months to a year.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What about volunteers? Do you have a lot of volunteers? Do you need
We
volunteers?
do, yeah. So
What do they do?
The volunteers, they help us out. I mean, we have so many volunteers. It's 230 or so volunteers that actively volunteer on the refuge. It's been down a little bit because of COVID,
Sure.
but
This damn COVID is screwing everything up.
Yeah, we welcome them if they're wanting to continue to volunteer. If they're not comfortable yet, we get it. But they're a lot of times our front face. People are more likely to see a volunteer than they are a refuge staff.
Sorry, we were watching the characters ride behind their bicycles. When you ride a bike, you wear a helmet?
All the time.
All right, good.
Now remind everybody of the hours of operation right now.
Yeah, so the refuge is open daylight hours, sunrise. So the visitor,
is that one of your?
wildlife drive.
Did you bring one of your?
There's our
friends
cattle
with you?
egret right
Got
here.
some birds coming right. What kind of bird is that?
That's a cattle egret.
Cattle egret.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
It does. How come he's not traveling in a pack? They travel
They're
alone?
a little more lonely. Yeah, they're a little more loners. The cattle egrets are. Usually, you see them next to the cows.
There you go.
Island
Really?
cow.
Okay,
Cattle
gotcha.
egret.
Got it. All right. I didn't know.
Wow.
That's why he's here, dear, to educate me. I know you know everything about it, so I didn't mean to interrupt.
So the hours.
The
Go ahead.
hours. So we're open daylight hours. Wildlife Drive is open 7:30 in the morning to about 6 o'clock at night right now. So
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on. I know you're sweating like crazy now because you're sitting right in the
It's
sun.
warm.
But
Yeah.
thanks so much, Kevin. Is there anything we can do to help promote it and to get the word out about the ding?
Hey, I appreciate your hospitality. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
on.
for being
so
one of our
much.
second
Yay.
guests ever on
Our
Sanibel.
second guest
okay.
ever.
Yeah.
Of
So,
our first
we've been doing the show on Fort Myers Beach for 2 years, but this is our first show here. So thank you so much.
Well, welcome.
We saw you in the front page of the paper, and we said we got to have that guy. Got to have that guy.
Love that.
All right, Kevin.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Godspeed.
so-
Godspeed.
All right, from Ding Darling, and a big round of applause from our artificial audience. And Kevin is great to come on. And yes, it's a lovely day here in Sanibel, and it is getting very summer-like here. We're gonna wrap up the show, dear, and then we'll say goodbye, and we'll say thank you to Kevin and good luck in his new position. And
Thanks to Holly. That was great.
yeah, thanks to Holly, and she got on the Facebook there and said thank you. And Tim Shadle says great conversation and congrats on the new show. Thank you so much, Tim. And this is episode number 1. John Lalo got on. He's so funny because he thinks that he wanted to know if this was episode number 150, but we had to have that. We had a board meeting on the way over and decided this would be, you could take the mask off now. I'm not worried
that's
about
right,
you
that's
catching something.
Well, I do want to say that when you're outside, you can have the mask, but I asked each guest, and that was their preference.
Right. And they are, the first thing you see when you come over the island is a big sign that says, wear your mask, put your mask on. So it's a serious deal over here, everybody, as it should be everywhere, because it's important for everybody to stay safe. And anyway,
for my
so
water.
yes, it turned out to be such a nice location, a great spot that Brian hooked us up with. And we were going to,
food.
yeah,
The food is good.
we were going
They
to
do
have
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, and they have entertainment in the back.
Mhm.
And what were you guys looking at earlier on? Is there some kind of iguana in that cage in the back there? Is that what that
Yeah,
was?
there's an iguana, and the iguana is standing on a volcano. And he was like, do you remember back in school, we all made the volcanoes? And I was like, yes, we do.
Come on, we're going to talk some football with Brian's
well, I'm
dad.
going to let you guys talk. I'm gonna
Right.
grab some water.
Thanks. Come on, have a seat.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
We're going to be right there on the camera. And I'm sorry, Kevin, Carl, nice and close with the microphone. Carl is Kevin's dad.
Brian's
I'm sorry, Brian. Well, Kevin just left. Sorry, I'm getting all my guests confused. Brian's dad. Brian owns. Do you own it or does Brian own it? Brian owns it, and Carl is a Green Bay Packers fan and big game tonight, right?
Right.
I'll say okay.
Big one.
So you got the Packers and the Buccaneers, and unfortunately, Tom Brady continues to do well, and it doesn't matter what team he's on, he just keeps winning. What do you think's going to happen tonight?
Well, his winning streak will probably end tonight because the Packers will dominate. They're making up for that previous loss earlier this year. So,
did the Packers lose to the Bucs?
Yeah, they lost to them. I think it was 38-10. So it'll be a makeup from the past, but it'll be a Packer victory, I'm sure.
Carl, I have to say, football aside, it must be horrible for you to have to take all this in while you're down here from Wisconsin. It just seems so brutal for you to have to suffer like this.
Well, somebody has to. We have to come down there and represent the Packers. So
very nice.
You got to come down and be present and be vocal.
And how have you gotten to know the residents and the customers over time?
Well, we've been coming down to Sanibel since the middle 80s. And my son has owned 2 other restaurants prior to the Island Cow. And when I come down, if it was not COVID time, I'd be at the door being a host.
Okay.
And get to meet a lot of people from all walks of life. And everybody seems to be happy since the island's a destination, the restaurant's a destination.
Right.
So it's pretty easy to make people happy with good food and good service.
Compared to Wisconsin, Florida's. I mean, I don't know. I meant to ask, how is it compared to Wisconsin? Because we're pretty open, even though we complain about things, about certain issues that we have to deal with COVID. How are they doing in Wisconsin?
Wisconsin is a little tighter in terms of requirements. Most of the restaurants up in Door County have limited seating. The outdoor is pretty much shut down now with the winter time, but it's I think it's a smaller community in terms of the whole peninsula has about 30,000 people.
Got you.
And so people are a little more sensitive to it, and I think they're doing a good job in that end of it, and as down here too. I mean, you can't shut down life. You've got to work with it somehow.
So last question, I'll let you go back to hobnobbing with the customers. What's the best meal, the best breakfast on the menu? My
favorite is the seafood omelet. You've got shrimp, you've got crab, you've got scallops and cheese. It's a wonderful island type omelet. And that's my favorite there. Your son warned me not to have you on, that you'd be salty and dropping curse words. So I don't know where he got that from, but we're gonna have to have a conversation with him about that. So I've mellowed out at the bar. No, honestly. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks for having us down here. It's been great, and we appreciate it. You being here. Yeah. And, we got a good day here for you, and so nice. Some happy customers. Thanks a lot. Carl is Brian's dad from Wisconsin, and his prediction was Green Bay over Tampa Bay. Oh, the Bays are playing tonight, Green Bay and Tampa Bay. I know you don't care, but that's the early game, I believe. Today? Yeah, football today. Are you ever going to stop talking? I know. We got to wrap this up, and we appreciate you all. Look, we have 9 listeners, just like I've always said. And we'll be back next week. We know we have John Lai on Sunday from the Chamber. So we know there'll be a show number 2. And we've invited, we don't know. We've invited Jason Mon on. We haven't heard back yet, but hopefully we'll have Jason on. We've had him on before on the Fort Myers Beach show. And we'll be back Saturday from Peach Time Out episode. Well, it'd be nice if we could get all of the people that are running. Yes, I've invited them all. Yeah. Now that they know the show is actually real, hopefully. And I'm going to make a prediction. I know she didn't want to hear it, but Holly is going to be the mayor. Would you vote for her? I'm not saying anything that I think is even close to the sunshine laws and put anyone in a bad spot. I'm so sorry. And your mom's watching from Utah. That was not my intent. I was joking about that. No, well, I just didn't like to say if they were just all long time. I don't know. Right, whatever. Right. You're just digging yourself in a bigger hole here. I know. We must have seen 2,000 bikers go by here today. I'm telling you, this is a bike-friendly area. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the beach for episode number 150. That's Fort Myers Beach. And take care. Have a nice day. And bye-bye. From beautiful Sanibel.